We are a social animal, now deprived of most human interaction. This week, a special series dealing with quarantine fatigue. Right now on Kevin's Isolators.
COVID-19, why you do this to me? I really don't like being stuck in quarantine. I have no toilet paper, I don't even have a snack. Hey, coronavirus, I want my life back.
Evening all, evening everybody. Hope you had a great day. Hope you're having a great evening as well. And we are indeed starting a series starting this evening. And we are dealing with quarantine fatigue. And get ready to hear that phrase a lot more in the next little bit. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Right now, let's get to our first feature. And our opening feature all the time, and that is what I am grateful for. Let's start populating the message board right now. And thank you very much, Donna, for that. I'm thankful for this show. I'm thankful for my viewers. I'm thankful for everybody who spends the evenings with us. I'm thankful for my family, most definitely. I'm grateful for living in Canada. Ain't that the truth at this time? Thankful for my friend, Fran. Hello, Fran. Patricia is thankful for you. For family. I'm grateful for grateful. You know, and I think, Linda, what you're saying is you're grateful for this little tradition we've just started, this little ritual. So thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who says they are thankful for this show. We'll put a few more up there before we get going. I'm grateful for my neighbors. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I would be grateful you have neighbors to be grateful for, because there are some people, sadly, who don't. I'm grateful for my son, says Tracy. So am I. And today I'm grateful for my family. You know what I was thinking today? I'm grateful that I'm okay. I'm grateful that I am safe and warm, have a comfortable bed to sleep in, have food to eat during all of this, that I haven't lost anyone to COVID, that I'm okay. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm very grateful for that. I don't let that go unnoticed. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening. We're going to get to the first show in this week-long series about quarantine fatigue. We, as I mentioned in that promo off the top, we're a social animal. And we have been cooped up away from most people, sequestered, like some jury. We have been cooped up for 2 months now. Human interaction is important, very, very important. And I'm not just talking about with your family, with your friends, with your work colleagues. I'm talking simply about the bus driver that you get on and say hello to, someone you pass in the street, someone who's in the elevator and you nod and wink or don't wink. They're going to think weird things. But you nod and you smile. An interaction at a grocery store, an interaction with someone on the street, or just a knowing wave, something like that. We're not getting any of that right now. We are sequestered. And we don't know when it's going to be over. We've done this for 2 months, and so we still have no end date, even though we are now starting to see, hopefully, a lot more retail stores opening up tomorrow. But even that isn't going to be normal. There's still going to be distancing. So we're still wondering, when is all this going to get back to a day that is normal? And that really adds to the quarantine fatigue. I want to talk a little bit more about the need for a human connection. And I want to cite a study that was put out by the by the way, yes, Parker wants me to remind you, that little countdown here, don't forget there are still fireworks tonight. We talked to the folks from Snapped yesterday, so if you go to the Snapped app, if you haven't downloaded it yet, coming up in 55 minutes and 20 seconds, you can hold that out your window, doesn't matter how cloudy it is, and watch the fireworks. You turn your camera around, and you will see them in the sky over your house. So we thought we'd put that up there for you, because that is a good way. That's something to look forward to, right? That is something to think about and to have fun with. So that's all coming up in the next hour. Okay, I want to get to that study now, if we could. Let's bring that up, about human connection, how important it was. This is from the Canadian Mental Health Association, the importance of human connection. Research shows us that loneliness is on the rise, and that a lack of human connection can be more harmful to your health than obesity, smoking, and high blood pressure. Let that sink in. A wave, a nod, a touch, a hello does more for your health than all of those other things. And that's what we're lacking right now. So this week is all about trying to be there for each other, trying to replace what we can with that human connection. Now, one of the most vulnerable sectors of our society, not just with COVID, but also with the lack of human connection, are seniors. And there are a lot of seniors even before COVID who were alone, forgotten, having no one, or someone may visit them maybe only once a week, once a month, once a year. Same thing with a phone call. And so our seniors are experiencing this tenfold, this loneliness and this fatigue that we all are. And there is a gentleman and a group that is helping to change that. His name is Mahad Shahzad, and he is a business student, and he joins me right now. Hi, Mahad. How are you?
Hey there, Kevin. I'm good. How are you?
You are with a group, or you started a group, not just with a group, called Chatting to Wellness. What is that?
Well, Kevin, Chatting to Wellness is a nonprofit organization that I started back in 2017. I was 18 at the time, and I saw the isolation and abandonment that my grandparents had. And I wanted to do something about it. And I can get deeper into the story later, but Chatting to Wellness is a nonprofit organization that combats senior isolation through youth companionship.
Okay. And this was started before COVID.
Yeah.
And before it was more face-to-face. But you, like any other business and any other group and organization, have had to pivot because of COVID. Before COVID, what were you doing? What was happening?
Yeah, so we have a large group of volunteers. A lot of them are high school, university students. And before COVID, what we would do is we would actually go to retirement homes and speak one-on-one with the seniors there. Pre-COVID, before we had to pause, we were active across 8 cities, providing 300 of these one-on-one conversations. We call them chatting sessions every single month across Southern Ontario. And we're helping a lot of isolated and lonely seniors get companionship, get friendship that they just didn't have before.
Most definitely. I mean, it doesn't matter what seniors residence you go in. I know my mom's in a seniors residence up in North Bay, and when I'm just gonna unmute your mic there. Hold on one second. There we go. She's in a residence up in North Bay, and when you go in there are always some people sitting alone, and invariably staring out the window.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a big problem, and we've seen it quite a bit, more than we'd like to see, really.
And there's all sorts of reasons for this. What's been your experience in some of the main reasons why people are alone in seniors?
Yeah, you know, Kevin, there's a lot of things involved. From what we've seen, a lot of it has to do with families. Families will put their parents in a senior's home and kind of, wean off of visiting because they feel like, oh, there's other people there. They don't have to be as involved. But it's kind of like the opposite. Many seniors will be in these homes and they'll be more lonely than before because they're not with family anymore. They're not with people they already know and they're close to. And what will happen is that they might just be sad all the time and not want to interact with others. They might build up a level of resentment. They may not be interested in other people at all. And we've seen people who've gone like that for years on end. We've seen seniors who, for years, have not left their room, interacted with other residents, interacted with staff, or went to any activities involved.
And quite often they can become bitter as well. And so we see these seniors who seem very, very angry. And a lot of the time is because they're just alone. They're lonely.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is that way. And it's interesting how simple the solution can be. We've seen great change in seniors who we started speaking with just for a couple of weeks. And all of a sudden, they go from someone who might be very bitter and resentful to someone who is saying hi to the staff in the morning, who's talking with their neighbor. It's a very big change that can, and it's not the solution for everything, but it's a very big change that can come from something very simple.
I think it's a big thing. I think it's a big deal. And before we had isolation, there were lots of programs too for seniors. So so residences especially, and would get them out to different outings, things like that. Even people who are living alone could go into seniors' residences and take part in these programs. But those programs have all been shut down now because of isolation. So that's just compounding the problem, right?
It really is. There's a huge amount of people that are isolated, lonely before COVID, and now that's grown so much more. And it's extended beyond just retirement residences to long-term care, hospitals, even people living in their own homes with family. Many people used to go to their community centers or libraries and interact with people there, but now the amount of people who are isolated and lonely is grown exponentially, really.
Now, as we mentioned, there have been changes because you've had to pivot because of COVID. So you've gone, like any other business, into mainly an online model. What has this meant for you?
For us, it's really meant that we had to adapt a little bit, and we had to think about what was the value add for the seniors to begin with. The in-person is huge, but fundamentally what we were doing was building relationships, building trust, building rapport, and building a connection and friendship with the seniors. So we said, okay, how can we take this and still do it without being there in person? So what we've done is we shifted online. And now we're available over the phone for any senior, anyone over the age of 50 across Canada. Retirement home, independent, doesn't matter. Anyone over 50 years old who just wants someone to speak with can call us or sign up online, and we're happy to talk with them. And we're more available than ever before because of it.
What kind of what kind of training do your volunteers go through, and what are some of the things that you share with them to help them?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. We take security and safety as a huge priority of ours. Everyone who applies will fill out an application form. We'll review those, do an interview. They'll do a vulnerable sector check. Then they'll go through a training that we've devised over the past 2 or 3 years. That it's included training from some of the largest retirement residences and volunteer organizations really in the country. So it's very thorough in that. And when we're training them, the type of stuff that we're teaching them is very simple, humanistic stuff. It's about, how do you make a friend? What goes into being a friend? It's someone who listens. It's someone who shows genuine interest. It's, how to sit when you're facing them, not to be on your phone. Like all these small things that really compound and add up into building great relationships.
And I think what's really important here is that this is not some counseling session, not some encouragement session. It's just simply, hey, did you watch that show last night? Or I love to knit. Do you things like that? Just simple conversation. It goes back to what we were talking about, that human connection.
Yeah. No, I think you hit it right on the head with that one, Kevin. One of the things that helps us do as well as we do and really differentiates us from other services and other kind of things that seniors are doing is that we're focused on that genuine connection. We're focused on building a connection that's not based off of a script or an agenda or some sort of methodology of conversation or thinking. It's all about building a relationship based off whatever the senior wants it to be about. So I've talked to people who we talk about their favorite Netflix show, and I've talked to others who talk about their experience in World War II. It can really be about anything they want it to be, and our volunteers are trained to be able to adapt with whatever you want to talk about. So it's really personal in that way.
Let's show people all the contact information they need to get in touch with you, because it's not just volunteers you're looking for. You're also looking at, by the way, we've got it up here on the screen. Website is chattingtowellness.ca or Facebook at chattingtowellness. You're not just looking for people to volunteer, which thank goodness you have a lot. You're looking for seniors out there who may not know about this program.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. We've had so many youth, and it's gone beyond youth as well now. We have adults and a lot of older people as well who are very, very passionate about this, very interested in it. We've had, since we launched a month ago, we've had over 330 people sign up to volunteer. And what's funny is that we never actually asked for volunteers. These are all people who saw what we're doing and commented, emailed, called, and said, hey, I want to help with this, right? We're looking to match that with the amount of seniors. And really, it's hard to reach a lot of seniors, especially those who are the most vulnerable, aren't online. So it's really up to the viewers and really up to us to share with our family, our friends, and let others know that something like this is available specifically for them.
And Christine just said that I think it's her mother, my mom or dad, I'm not sure, is 92 and hard of hearing, so it's very frustrating for her. Oh, her. Okay, so it's her mother. So you have a number of seniors who maybe people have just given up on, and so coming in with these volunteers, how important is patience for them?
Oh, I mean, huge. I think, and it's something that a lot of families, I think, can learn from as well, because we hear the stories. And one of the things we find with seniors is that a big reason why people aren't already talking with them, engaging with them, is they are a bit slower, right? It takes a minute to think about a thought and put it out in an appropriate way. And that's just how it is, right? Patience is huge. And we teach that to all our volunteers, on being patient and understanding of someone else who's very different from them, right? Our volunteers, they'll speak with people who are 3, 4, 5 times their age, totally different. So it's not even just patience in the time it takes to have a conversation, but it's patience in how they think and the different experiences they had.
What are your volunteers telling you that they are getting out of it?
So much, honestly. It's something we don't talk about enough, I think, because we are focused on the seniors and providing care for them. But our volunteers, they gain so much from these experiences. I hear it all the time about someone who is getting relationship advice, and someone who made a new friend, or someone who even the volunteer is excited for pre-COVID. We were visiting Saturday mornings. They're excited for every Saturday morning because they know they're going to go see their friend, and they already made plans last week to paint their nails that week. Like, it's small things like that where it's not just for the senior, but the volunteer as well gets to learn a lot from someone who's so different from them, and also establish a relationship, have someone to talk to. Yeah.
It's pretty sad, because in our Western way of thinking, I think we're one of the few that sort of discount our seniors, warehouse them, put them aside, pay them no attention. Whereas in most cultures, seniors and elders are revered and kept at home as long as possible. The reason being is we still have something to learn. We have something to learn from that wisdom. And interestingly enough, I think it's this thought that actually is responsible for you starting this organization. Tell me about what happened a few years ago.
Yeah, so 2017, I'm 18 at the time. It's my first year of university. It's a summer. I go back home to Pakistan to visit my grandparents there. And my grandparents, they're quite old, and they're living with my uncle, my other uncle, their wives, their kids. It's a very family-oriented culture. And if you don't know South Asia, how it works is that families will live in large homes together. It's very normal for multiple families to live in one home. And so they're still living with my grandparents. The concept of retirement residences is so foreign, it's almost unheard of. But what I found was that my grandparents were still isolated. They're still doing things on their own. They're still eating by themselves, watching TV by themselves. Definitely not to the degree here. Here it's so much worse, but they're still in that situation. And so later that summer, when I came back to Toronto, I was still thinking about it. I said, that's the case back home. It's such a family-oriented culture. What's it like over here? And so I looked into it and I researched, and I found that there's a huge amount of abandonment and isolation in retirement residences in North America. This was coupled by an alarmingly high suicide rate for seniors. Senior suicide is almost 4 times as much as youth suicide, which is just, it's terrifying to hear, because whenever we think about mental health and suicide, we think about youth, and they have all these help counseling centers and all this stuff available on campuses, and all that's phenomenal. But when I looked into it, there was next to nothing for seniors. There's nothing dedicated to them. A lot of the homes didn't even have mental health policies or procedures.
Well, you think about it. When we think about crisis lines, we think about crisis lines for kids, for teens, for youth, for adults, even middle-aged people. Yeah. But you're right. I don't recall any sort of service. Or I hope there is. I don't know if there is for seniors. Yeah. And I think what's wonderful is what you offer could help prevent that from them going into crisis, for a senior going into crisis.
It's possible, definitely in the future. Right now, obviously, we are very clear. We're not therapists or counselors, and we're not an emergency line. We do want to make that very, very clear. But it's definitely something possible in the future. And you're right. I hope I'm wrong. I hope there are services out there that I don't know about, but others do, that are there for seniors. But it was alarming that how difficult it was to find any. And it's even harder for seniors who may need them in times of need.
Laurie just said, my brother is a PSW, personal service worker in a long-term care in Sudbury. He said it's sad how many patients who do not have visitors. And it is that way. Now, we're talking about people in residences, in long-term care facilities. Now, they may not have visitors, but at least they have people checking on them and perhaps meals provided and sort of just generally some companionship or a possibility of. But there are many, many more who I'm looking at the buildings right now who are living by themselves in those condos, in those houses, in those apartments, all by themselves, with nobody checking on them. There are homeless seniors as well.
Yeah. I've talked to so many seniors, whether it's they're living in an independent home, like on their own or in a home. I remember early on, once when we started, I was visiting retirement residents, and as we were speaking with one of the seniors there, and she was really happy. And it's normal. We're happy. We see that all the time. But I noticed there's a lot of nurses looking and pointing. And I just went up to them. I said, hey, is everything okay? We're new. We want to make sure we're not doing anything wrong. And they said, yeah, we've just never seen Irene this happy before. I said, well, why is that the case? And she said, well, Irene, she hasn't had visitors in over 25 years. And I was blown away. I was thinking, I'm 19 years old. I was 19 at the time. This person who's less than a foot away from me has gone my entire life, and then some, without any friends, any family, or anybody visiting her besides just doctors and nurses visiting. And that just blew me away. And it's people in our communities who are living like that. I've heard similar scenarios of people who are living on their own in a similar situation. It's terrifying how difficult it can be for some. But we don't realize it.
Okay, we've talked about two things here that your website is doing. So you're looking for not just volunteers, but for seniors who would like people to visit them, or people who know of a senior. It doesn't even have to be the senior. People who know of a senior, to put you in touch with them. Donations. Let's talk about this. You are a non-profit organization.
Yeah.
And there are expenses with any organization. And I'm watching all the comments here. And people are loving what you're doing. They're congratulating you. But you can't do it without some donations. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that up, Kevin. Yeah, so I started this when I was 18. I'm 21 now, and I'm still a student. And, since then, we didn't get any funding. We're running purely based off a student budget and really just very lean out of a need to help. But we've gone online. There's phone lines involved. There's scheduling involved. There's a lot of things involved in being able to keep something like this up. And there's only so far you can go on a student's budget, especially during this time. So, if people who are viewing, they think what we're doing is valuable, they think this is important for people, we'd love it if you go onto our website and make a donation of any size. The last thing we'd want to see is that the vulnerable, in-need seniors who we are calling every single night, we have to tell them we can't do it anymore over a couple $100 or a couple $1,000. That would be the saddest thing to see.
I'm thinking about, man, you really touched me with that, the story of that person who had not had a visitor in 25 years?
25 years. Irene was her name, 25 years.
Wow.
She was 108 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And I'm sure that, at that age as well, I'm sure her family, a lot of her family is probably passed on as well, right?
Yeah.
Mahad, this is, thank goodness you came along. I think how many seniors have you had visits with, contacts? How many contacts have you had, do you think, or are you able to even say?
Yeah. Well, early 2020, we're talking January, February, we surpassed 3,000 chatting sessions cumulatively. And before we stopped for COVID-19, we're doing 300 every single month. We're very much on track for 4,000 soon. And now, here's the thing. Before we visited every Saturday morning, once a week, right? 3 hours. Now, we're available Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. every single weekday with hundreds of more volunteers. So our impact, we're able to make it much larger. We're able to help so many more people, and it's really up to us to make sure that we're able to, one, do so financially, and two, to reach those seniors. And for people to not just say, hey, check this out, but hey, I'm going to sign you up for this.
We all do things in this life that make a difference, and you have done that exponentially. hundreds of lives are better because of you and your volunteers and because of your thoughts for your fellow human being. So I know you get kudos once in a while, but I hope you congratulate yourself once in a while, that you stop once in a while and say, I done good, because you have. And I think that's wonderful. And I wish you all the luck. I encourage people to go to the website and donate, first of all. I encourage you, if you know of a senior who possibly needs someone to check in on them once in a while, have a conversation with them, to get in touch with you. And if you want to volunteer or even have some ideas, then go to the website. Once again, let's remind people of the website. It's chattingtowellness.ca or Chatting to Wellness on Facebook. And it's such a great thing that you are doing, Mahad. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate the kind words. And I'm looking at the comments as well. Thank you very much, everybody.
Please, you know what? Please keep everyone. He's watching the comments, okay? He's watching the comments. So tell him what you really think of him, okay? And put your money where your mouth is. I want you to click on that donation button as well. Mahad Shahzad, thank you so much for spending this evening with us. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
All right. Mahad Shahzad chatting to us about the Chatting to Wellness program, which is a program in which seniors who don't get people to visit them or talk with them get a phone call, get a visit. Not a visit right now, but that I'm sure will return once COVID is over. Like I started to say, we've been put on this world, we've been put on this planet for a reason. Whatever good I can do, let me do now, because I shall pass this way but once. I know I screwed it up completely, the quote, but you get the idea. What are you doing right now? And what are you doing for yourself? And I was talking to Mahad about making sure that he congratulates himself. So this week we're talking about that quarantine fatigue. What are you doing instead of sitting there and saying, "Oh, when's this going to end? I can't take it anymore." And yeah, we're gonna feel that way. I feel that way every once in a while. But again, it's the brush yourself off, stand up, and say, "Okay, what am I going to do about it?" I can't just sit here. It's a great idea. Get involved with speaking to seniors. Think about that. 25 years, that woman, Irene, didn't have a visitor, a guest, a human interaction other than most likely with doctors and nurses and attendants. Heck, a visit from a pizza delivery person probably would be exciting. Think about that. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to that human connection thing we were talking about at the beginning of the show from the Canadian Mental Health Association. The importance of human connection. Research shows us that loneliness is on the rise. A lack of human connection can be more harmful to your health than obesity, smoking, and high blood pressure. So that is the goal this week, is to at least help you deal with this cabin fever, if you want to call it that, this fatigue, because how you deal with it now is going to help you once isolation is over. Don't forget, tomorrow, a lot of retail stores with storefronts are going to be allowed to open, but there's still going to be social distancing. There's still going to be lineups outside some stores. There's still going to be a lot of businesses that can't open. Stores and malls will not be able to open. They have no street access. So things will be changing tomorrow, and we're going to see what happens. We're keeping our fingers crossed that everybody can behave themselves. And it was a weird holiday weekend, wasn't it? It really was a weird holiday weekend. You know, we look forward to the Victoria Day weekend all the time, the May 24 weekend, because it's our first time to have decent weather and to spend a long weekend doing something. But this weekend was just so weird, wasn't it? It just was. So that means no fireworks. They were all canceled. But take a look. Up there in the corner, we've got that countdown. All you have to do is go to the Snapped app. Let's remind you of the app. It is Snapped, SNAPD, not Snapped, PEPD, but SNAPD. It's called the Snapped Hub. And then all you have to do is download it. And then at 8 o'clock, you point it out your window and it activates your camera. And you can look around the sky around your house. And you can do it again at 9 o'clock. After 8 o'clock, it's available. So if you want to wait till it gets a little bit dark, you want to have some fun with the kids or just your own fireworks, then by all means, do that. That starts at 8 o'clock, and it's the Snapped Hub app. It's available in the Google Play Store and for iOS devices in the Apple Store as well. We're going to continue this week talking about quarantine fatigue. I would like to hear your ideas. What are you doing to replace that loss of human connection and interactivity? What are you doing? I would love to hear some unique ideas. I'm running out of ideas. What are you doing to try and deal with this quarantine fatigue? With replacing that, yelling at neighbors across the street, how you doing? Anybody walks by, are you waving at them? What are you doing? I would love to know, please. So message me, tweet me, email me, anything. Now, we haven't put our email up there for a while, Parker. It is firstaidforyourmentalhealth@gmail.com. Very simple. firstaidforyourmentalhealth@gmail.com. Send me an email. You can also send it through Messenger. You can send it through Twitter. If you want me to DM you, I will follow you. Just let me know you want me to follow you, and I'll follow you, and you can DM me as well. I'd love to hear from you, and I want to know what the ideas are, and I'll share them this week. So we'll continue on with that. I hope that I can't get over that, Mahad, and talking about the seniors. I just can't get over that. Thank goodness that he came along. He's made a difference in so many people's lives. Amazing. And you can make a difference as well. And you start with your own life, and then you branch out from there. Fireworks, 27 minutes, 34 seconds. Thank you for joining us here this evening. I hope you have a great evening and a great day tomorrow, and we'll see you back here at 7. Until then, take care of yourself and take care of each other. We are a social animal, now deprived of most human interaction. This week, a special series dealing with quarantine fatigue.
COVID-19, why you do this to me? I really don't like being stuck in quarantine. I have no toilet paper, I don't even have a snack. Hey, coronavirus, I want my life back. Well, hey, coronavirus, I want my life back. Well, hey, coronavirus, I want our life back.